front of me reads, using animals in medical research should be banned, and I, Shaunak Majumdar of MBBS final year, will prove to you how true and robust this statement is. You see, when I received this topic yesterday evening, I was immediately transported back to my first year physiology practical days. And I wondered to myself that as a final year student, when I'm expected to rote learn so many things, why was a frog sacrificed for me to understand simply that a heart beats on its own? Before even questioning the morality of animal experimentation, let me lay down some basic facts. More than 150 million animals are killed every year in research. 94% of animal studies cannot be reproduced in humans. And 9 out of 10 drugs have passed preclinical trials in animals actually fail to do so during clinical trials in human beings. So the aforementioned point would make you believe that animal experimentation is not a robust method to actually study human diseases and treatments in anyways. But talking about research itself in British Medical Journal has a systematic review which states that animal experimentation in research has dubious efficacy to begin with. In fact, the opposition might say that we made major breakthroughs in science because of animal experimentation, but take the example of Edward Jenner. He inoculated humans with cowpox virus, and that is what led to the breakthrough of vaccination. The opposition might also come that if we don't experiment on animals, then we don't have an alternative. However, in today's day of cell lines, tissue cultures, and biochips, why do we need to study the toxicity of drugs on rats when we have cell lines? In fact, the irony is not lost to me that the most famous cell line, the Gila cell line, was acquired from Henrietta Lacks, a black woman, without her consent. In fact, if we don't experiment on animals, the opposition might say that we might have to experiment on humans. Well, aren't we doing that anyways? What about our clinical trials on human beings? Why did we have news during COVID that vaccine was being tested in slums across India? Why is it that the destitute are forced to take part in these trials? Because of the compensation. Along the lines of what George Orwell said in Animal Farm, are all lives equal, or are some lives more equal than others? I'm sure my opposing speakers will also talk how saving a single human life is worth killing millions of animals for. To that I say, consider the Tuskegee syphilis study in USA, where white researchers in position of power thought it was worth sacrificing black men with untreated syphilis to save human lives, or as one would say, to save white lives. Take the example of Joseph Engel, or the angel of death in Auschwitz, who considered it was worth killing millions of Jews for in order to save Aryan lives. Now, why am I telling you all this? You see, the concept of consent has been very fickle in the field of research to begin with. So, as we condemn these incidents today, and as our society is progressing, and our models are changing, I seriously don't understand the cognitive dissonance on the part of the opposition when they come forward and refute me when I'm trying to apply the same moral compass to the use of animal lives in research. And so I would like to conclude by saying that while historically we have partaken in animal research, in our research a lot, that does not mean that there is no scope of improvement and change in the current times. And I sincerely hope that my points have been able to make a change in your mind. Thank you.
Medical science has come a long way. From the discovery of penicillin to polio and smallpox vaccination, to the world of monoclonal antibodies and the development of the COVID vaccination. A long journey indeed, and many more to go. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we meet today to debate whether the use of animals in medical research be banned, and I stand strongly against the motion before the House. Let's talk certain statistics. Let's talk about our infant mortality rate. The infant mortality rate today is 27.69 deaths per 1,000 live births. This, my dear friends, was 145.6 during the time of our independence. The IMR has been on a consistent decline. Surfactant is no longer fashionable. It has become routine. The earliest surfactants were all derived from cows and pigs and has saved so many human babies. Smallpox. Well, of course, my friends and I have heard of it. But the future generations will be relating to it just like we do to dinosaurs. A thing of the past. Eradicated for good. Thanks to Mr. Edward Jenner and his experiments on a cow. Coming to diabetes. So we all know that diabetes is a earlier incidents were all bovine and porcine. Snake bite. God, just talking about it gives me goosebumps. Kalina mein kaat liya. End of life. Kahani khatam. No amount of treatment, no amount of hard food could save a victim. But today, times have changed and Kahani continues. Picture abhi baki hai. With the advent of the anti-snake venom, we are able to combat the deadliest of the snakes and treat our victims. So many vaccines against so many diseases have been developed on chick embryo and duck embryo and other animal sources. Study on animals have made scientists understand the finery of human metabolism and diseases, the various enzymatic systems and biochemical pathways. Talking of surgery, well, just the mention of an operation sends chills down our spine. Today, my father, a surgeon, sends his patients back home a day after their lab colis for their ureteroscopies. Revolution and acceptance of surgery was brought about with the advent of middle access surgeries. Laparoscopies, endos, robotics, you name it, all of them have been learned in waste labs. The first ECG, the first EEG, the first EMG, you talk of anything, has been conducted on animals. I hope my friends on the other side will agree with me. They talk of utopia. But my friends, utopia hadn't been utopia had it been practical and real. I'd like to ask my opponents who've been talking about all the atrocities that research does to animals. How many of you are strict vegetarians or vegans for that matter? Rise above your hypocrisy. Human body is not a machine. You cannot program a human being. As for human volunteers, I prefer a real guinea pig over a human guinea pig. Medical treatment is all about risks versus benefits. And I do not mind doing research on an animal when it comes to saving even a single human life. Thank you very much.
This can be summed up in just one sentence. एक तो चोरी ऊपर से सीना चोरी. We first claim that we are saving humanity by doing evil experiments, all in the name of modern medicine. My friends in opposition claim that we are all emotional buffoons who are no longer practical or relevant. Okay, so let me now practically explain what is emotion. Emotion is nothing but neurotransmitters. What is love? What is love to your mother? It's oxytocin. What is habit? It's nothing but repetitive dopamine. And you know what is common between me and a mice? What is common between me and a monkey? What is common between me and a cow? It's all these neurotransmitters. According to the American Veterinary Society, we and the animals are basically the same, and our response to torture is exactly identical. Beyond scream in pain. My friends in opposition have not gone into the nitty-gritty of what actual experiment is. How we get 150 million animals all in the name of modern medicine. The two most important experiments are the infamous race test and what you all probably know, the ND50 or the lethal dose 50 tests. In the race test, we first of all take an animal and inject it with the substance in its eye, and we wait for its cornea to die off slowly. And the most common outcomes are scarring of the cornea, permanent blindness, and in more than 50% of the cases, death. And in the lethal dose 50 test, imagine yourselves tied to a tube to your stomach, being fed toxic chemicals until you die. And this process often takes weeks to months. And death, since is the desired outcome, that poor being is not even given euthanasia to ease its pain. This is the story, not one, not thousand, but 150 billion animals all across the globe. My friends in opposition claim that animal experiment is the only way out. Had it been the only way out, not 9 of 10 animal experiment passing drugs would fail even pre-clinical human trials. There is a wide range of alternatives to animal experiment nowadays. The first one being the organ-on-chip program, in which human cells are cultivated on algae, fungi, etc. and all these molecular actions of pharmacological actions of drugs is read on humans on a chip. Artificial human lungs, kidneys, and whatnot have been created. The end goal is to create a human on a chip. Moreover, cell cultures, the excessive amount of evidence that proves that there are more and more alternatives to animal experiments than that.
Old MacDonald had a lab, E-I-E-I-O, and in his lab he had some chips and gas, E-I-E-I-O. With wailing screams heard and agonizing squeals there, little did he know it was not a right road, not your right road. Good afternoon, respected panel of jury. I am the Amishal, a second-year engineer student. I'm going to present my views for promotion. Using animals in research and to test the safety of products has been a topic of heated debate for decades. Annually, more than 115 million animals are used worldwide in experimentation and in biochemical industries. Despite its use of immense resource, the animal suffering involved and its impact on human health, the question of animal experimentation efficacy has been subject to scrutiny. It's poorly predictive, unreliable, and totally unethical. In favor of my motion, I firstly present animal testing is cruel and inhumane. As mentioned by my fellow participants before me, animals used in lab testing are force-fed, captivated, deprived of food and water, and various tests like the Grace test and lethal dose 50, which are infamous for being extremely painful, are administered on the animals. Problems of successful translocation of data from animals to humans is another issue. For example, Vioxx, a drug used to treat arthritis, was found to be safe for monkeys and 5 other species, yet estimated to have caused stroke and heart attacks in nearly 320,000 people and 140,000 deaths worldwide.
In medical research. This can be understood well by an example of fetal bovine serum. This particular serum gained popularity during the times of COVID when it was said that it was present in the COVID vaccine, but rather it was not. It was only used to prepare the viral cultures. So, this particular serum is used to do cell cultures because it is said to contain the necessary electrolytes and growth factors and several other things. But what is important is how it is extracted, how it is obtained. It is obtained by slaughtering pregnant bovine mothers in the later stages of pregnancies, and their fetus is taken out when they are nearly alive, and a cardiac puncture is made and the blood, the serum is taken out from their hearts. Isn't that a horrible inhuman practice? And certain reports claim that nearly 500,000 liters of fetal bovine serum is obtained, is produced each year, nearly affecting a million fetuses. The research has increased in modern times so much that we do not need to look out for animals at all the times. In earlier times, when the animals were the only visible source to experiment upon, it was quite fine. But nowadays, when we have genetically modified algae, we have fungi and several other organisms on the microscopic level which can provide us with the same stuff, why to harm the innocent animals which cannot speak their pain. Then coming to the another thing, which is the pollution caused by using the animals in medical research. As the research increases, the number of animals required also increases. The reproduction rates need to go high, which exposes them to several kinds of hormones which are very harmful for their health. Then coming to another point, that is when their numbers go higher, so does the amount of resources required to sustain them. And this situation versus when the animals used in the particular research belong to cattle. Like about 18 to 20% of the methane secretion, methane released in the atmosphere due to human activity is due to cattle breeding. And the severity can be understood by the fact that the greenhouse gas effect of methane is nearly 34 times that of CO2. Now coming to the most important, which people often associate this thing with, is the ethical aspects. Right now, in earlier times, animals were the only thing which was visible. We were not aware of the minute microorganisms on which the experiments would take place. So earlier people did that, but now since we have the access to the organisms on the microscopic level, which is a better alternative, and that they don't provide any errors due to the metabolic activities of the animals, we can definitely consider that thing. Now coming to the last part of my viewpoint. So we belong to the Indian culture. In the Indian culture, everything is life. You are living, everyone at the back is living. And our philosophy goes beyond that. We say even the floor that is there, the earth that is there, that is also having consciousness, that is also having chetana in that. That is why whenever we perform a havan, we pay our salutations to the Mother Earth. When we wake up in the morning, we say, Samudramasthe Devi Parvatastalmande Vishnupatni Namostobhyam Pachparsham Shamaswami. Like I am asking for forgiveness. So at the end I will conclude by saying, blessed is the human mind that made man reach the moon, using it in the compassionate way. Let's prove it's the best moon. Thank you so much.
किसी ने सही कहा है कि इंसानों के लिए अपनी क्रिया से ज्यादा और कुछ भी नहीं. That is why thousands of medical researches are going on every day for betterment of human lives. And in those medical researches, thousands of animals are being involved. So here I am, Sashna Shri, standing in front of you to speak, to present my views for the motion. I strongly believe that
The topic for today's debate is using animals in medical research should be banned, and I, Sumedha Singh, would like to speak for the motion. Each year, more than 100 million animals lose their lives in laboratories for medical research. This is not only cruel but also often ineffective. Animals do not naturally get many of the diseases as we humans do. In one such experiment, dogs were forced to inhale cigarette smoke for months. In 2016, a Stanford lab caused monkeys to bear second-degree burns on the face, all due to negligence. Mice aren't rats, cats aren't dogs, monkeys aren't humans. Testing a drug on an animal in no way can prove that they'll be equally effective on humans too. The interspecies variability is often too high to draw any parallels. The FDA recorded that about 92% of all drugs, which increased to about 96% as of 2015, successfully passed the animal trials but failed clinical trials on humans. Moreover, the manner in which animals are kept in laboratory is very cruel. They are often left bereft of natural light and fresh air, which leads them to express abnormal behaviors, and often they are exposed to laboratory-induced diseases. This week, in 2018, experimenters in Netherlands Institute for Neuroscience subjected hundreds of rats to fear-induced electric shocks, all to show that rats can empathize with other rats. So this proves that if one animal is tortured, the pain is felt by all. So even if in the lab you are using a single animal, the pain is felt by all the animals present there. How would any of you sitting in this audience feel to see your loved one lose their lives for the selfishness of others? Also, many a times animal testing misleads humans into not being able to find many cures of diseases. For example, aspirin is not effective in many animal species but does wonders for humans. The famous Act of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals 1960 charges only a minimum fee of ₹200 for any negligence caused to animals. To combat the torture and unfairness of the situation, people for ethical treatment of animals on a global scale called to oppose the mandatory need for animals in research. Many people present here would say that if we didn't use animals, then we would directly have to use humans for the trials. But if you actually take a closer look, no matter how many animals you use, there will always be someone who will be the first person to get tested on. So why not opt for better methods than using poor animals? Alternatives like organ-on-chips models, 3D tissue models, computer models like USARs, microdosing as done in phase 0 of clinical trials, various cell lines, all exclude the use of animals and are more closer to our genetic predisposition. Therefore, I would like to end my speech here with the quote that we can judge the heart of a man by the way of his treatment of animals. So please treat animals in a way in which you want to be treated by them. Thank you.
From the results of animal testing, it is found to be instrumental in saving the endangered species from extinction, like the Californian condors, the black-footed colex, and the tamarins in Brazil. The researchers, through repeated experimentations, don't turn insanely human, right? Because all research animals are taken good care of by animal technicians and vet doctors. They are given toy rotation programs and daily, twice a daily exercise just to maintain their physical and mental health. Because if they are in good well-being, they will have good and reliable results. Many may claim that animal testing leads to animal extinction, but we have to understand the fact that the animals are chosen from those species which are highly reproductive and that humanly inbred in labs and not really removed from the ecosystem. Plus, their animal testing is very well regulated, such as the Animal Welfare Act, which has been in action since 1966, that aims to provide the 3 R's of bioethics: reduction in the population size of animals used for testing, refining the experimentations, and replacement with better alternatives. If even after all these monumental efforts, if there is a try to ban animal testing, I find it to be utterly baseless and foolish. Lastly, I would like to end here by saying, if we stop animal killers, who are going to stop all those real killers that threaten our life daily? Thank you.
It's a bad science and like a bad scientific fraud. To understand how ineffective animal testing is, let me tell you some facts. Most of the animals that we use, such as mice, rodents, monkeys, rabbits, are not even accurate models for predicting the human response. Because these species are very different from ours. They are genetically, physiologically, metabolically, anatomically very different. And therefore, the animal-based research in them is reliable as
Should be banned. Question arises, why? The answer is simple. Animal testing is a valuable asset in scientific research, drug development, health and medical research. Since we know that the starting of animal testing is a historical event. As the experimentations on animals
here is being forced. That is Zabardasti. That is the foremost policy of animal testing applies. Forced to inhale noxious compounds, forced to inhale and eat things that they never desire, deprived of food and water, physically restrained for prolonged period of time, burned, neck broken, and even decapitated. These are few of the treatments that these animals get at the laboratories. Do you think that's just? Do you think that they should be there in place of us? Are they not human? No, they are not. They are animals. That's the point of our debate. That they are animals and therefore we think that they should get this treatment. Next point that I would raise is in 2010, the US Department of Agriculture reported that nearly 1 lakh animals suffered with pain during experiments while not being given any form of anesthesia. If this is not cruel enough, I would like to cite another example. Testing of cosmetic products. In this, the animals, they are required to keep their eyes open for hours, even days. What rights do we human beings have to subject these animals to such harsh and cruel scheme, and to those who cannot even raise their voice, let alone complaining? The next point that I would like to raise is lack of applicability. All animal experiments may turn to waste of scientific research energy, waste of resources, because the results of the tests done may not be applicable and reliably extrapolated on human beings. There can be other alternatives. Scientists should think about that too. Like human genes being cloned into microorganisms, because they can yield more specific toxicology results. Lastly, I would like to say that the greatest disadvantage of animal research is that it lessens the value of life. Most animals, once the testing procedure has been completed, are euthanized. About only 4% of the animals that are involved in the ongoing projects are covered by the animal welfare laws. Rest, they face the problems and they face the risk of abuse and neglect currently. I would like to end with the famous speech of Dr. Tom Green. He says that animals too have beliefs and desires, perception and memory, and a sense of future. The argument that animal testing may be necessary is no excuse at all, because it is the responsibility of the scientist to discover humane alternatives. Lastly, before going, I would like to throw a question on you guys. While you are running on the street, caressing the animals, considering them, oh, he's so cute, oh, this is so cute, kuchi, kuchi, kuchi. Do you think that in this world, at this very time, at this very animal, in some other part of the world, is getting the treatment of no living creature deserves? Is this justice? I ask for. Thank you.
What effect it is going to have when it is going to be introduced into any living system. So before directly using it on humans, we have to use it in any experimental animal like guinea pig or mice. Based on this result of the study, we can deduce the drug's effect, its side effects, and the toxic dose. It gives us an idea on how the drug will function when it.
That it doesn't that sound dystopic to you? Well, the reality we live in. Good afternoon, my respected judge members and all my esteemed colleagues present here. I, Shivashina, would like to tell my arguments for the motion. One, use of animals in medical research should be banned. Well, as we can all agree, the perceivable medical prowess that we have made that has doubled our life expectancy in the past 100 years completely virtually stands on the corpses of 192.1 million animals that are sacrificed each year in medical research. What is the majority, 53% are mice who share, despite sharing 93% of our genomes, have only 43% efficacy in predicting toxicity and 90 to 92% of all results subsequently fail in human trials. So, I would like to ask, didn't we know this? Well, we did since ancient Egypt and Greece to medieval Europe. We have always done this. But despite that, we have a nature that anything that is we consider subhuman, we do not care to sacrifice. Just as human husky experiments have been done on blacks in the West, so even by the father of biology, there have been
and my fellow Canadians. Today, I will be speaking upon a topic that why animals usage for medical experiments should not be banned. So first of all, I would like to emphasize that facts are not made on an emotional basis and they can never be made on an emotional basis. Emotions are those conservative feelings which don't allow the person to grow, be open to changes and discover new things, as it will always lead to the breaking of the complete mindsets upon which we have believed and worked firmly. Who do you think is the greatest experimenter of all time? Who has the greatest of abilities? Nature itself. The millions of years of evolution. The experiments that nature has conducted on various species has led to the decline and the extinction of millions of species about which we don't even know ourselves. And the small little experiments which we conduct in the small little labs, in the small little test tubes, are those insignificant. And now, talking about the great biologist, Herbert Spencer, Charles Darwin, were they being emotional when they said that survival of the fittest? Well, obviously, they were emotional at that time. Now, covering a more tactical aspect of my subject, everyone of us has taken paracetamol at some or the other point of time. Well, paracetamol was released after only its testing was done on the mice for its neurogenic and the cardiogenic effects. Just think if it was banned, the animal experiments were banned and paracetamol wasn't used. So we have to bear with all that headache that was so disgusting. And small little iron cuts that we see everywhere in the children. The tetanus vaccine that helped after that. But just think if this tetanus vaccine wasn't there because of this animal banning thing. The tetanus vaccine would have been there, and I also wouldn't be standing before you, and many of us wouldn't have been there. And I'm not totally against like saying that animals should be tortured for experiments, but yes, ethical things, ethical approach should be there towards these experiments, rather just not saying like completely banning the experiments. Now talking about all the surgical procedures, the pain relievers, the psychoactive drugs, the medications for blood pressure, insulin, pacemakers, nutritional supplements, organ transplants, treatments for shock, trauma, blood pressure, all of these have been derived from animal subjects. We are back on immunity to hormones, to cardiovascular experiment करो, बस ये सीधा लगा दो, कोई जरूरत नहीं एनिमल एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करने की, ऐसा नहीं हुआ था, हमें एनिमल एक्सपेरिमेंट्स करने पड़े थे, क्योंकि हमारी वहाँ की नीड
ठीक है वो
I believe that experiments are at the core of the science, just like clinical aspects are at the core of anatomy, and aloo is at the core of samosa. Point of the और किसी को भी मतलब अगर दिक्कत हो रही है अभी भी एनिमल एक्सपेरिमेंट्स के अगेंस्ट है, मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा आप जाके पहले नॉन वेज लवर्स को पकड़ो और उनको थैंक यू एवरीवन. I would like to further support my topic with the fact that America has released around 252 drugs which are in regular usage, and about 150 of these drugs are from animal origin or they have been experimented on animals. So, what do you think? If these animal experiments were banned completely, these 150 drugs, American drugs would have been there, and even America wouldn't have been standing at that position as well. As all those people who argue that everyone has the right to live or like every life is equal, हाँ एक चूहे की लाइफ को और डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प की लाइफ को कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते हो, और हाँ अगर इनको कहना है चूहा भी है डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प ना, उनको मैं कुछ नहीं कहना चाहूँगा। धन्यवाद।
Professors, my worthy opponents and everyone present in the audience. I am Aditi Pandey, a student of IMS second year, and I stand before you all to speak against the motion and advocate that testing of animals is very necessary for medical researches. Before diving deep into the topic, I would like to share with you all a small incident that happened with me like not more than an hour. I was just having a chat with a fellow participant and on same topic, and he said, "Listen, Aditi, what do you think? It is easy standing against testing of drugs on animals if you are healthy. But what if the same person falls ill? What if he has a beloved who is on a deathbed? Will he deny medication in that case?" And that, my friends, is the exact defining moment that opposes people from stopping medical researches on animals. California Biomedical Research Association clearly states that
This topic is using animals in medical research should be banned. And let's stand in favor of this motion. Let me start by making a statement. Animals should be treated humanely. I hope most of you agree to it, but if there's anyone who doesn't agree, you may please raise your hands. No one. So all of you agree to it, and most likely so. I bet if I went outside and asked the same to passers-by, most of them would agree too. It is not really surprising, is it? Any incident of violence or cruelty towards animals upsets us. But unfortunately, if it has anything to do with our own benefit, we don't even think twice. Just for instance, if any of my close ones is seriously ill and needs a heart transplantation, I come here, you all seem nice and healthy, I kidnap one of you, risk you to a secret fatal surgery, and where I remove your heart to donate it. I like you all very much, but I don't love you as much as my close ones. So does that make it morally and legally justifiable? Certainly not. Then why is it normalized in case of animals? Isn't it fiendish to think your existence and your lives are more important and superior to any other living species in this world? Definitely there have been programs which prevent and protect animals.
second year, and I'm speaking against the motion using animals in medical research should be banned. Our doctors wouldn't have been so successful in treating some really fatal diseases if it weren't for the experiments conducted in the research lab. What exactly is animal testing? Animal testing is basically to research basic biological processes and diseases and assessing the effectiveness of medicine for human use. Why we use animals? Because animals are used in such experiments and they are biologically very similar to humans.
इसलिए यदि एक मनुष्य के हित के लिए हमें 1000 या 10,000 फसलों की बलि देनी पड़े
इस दावे के पक्ष में कोई सबूत नहीं है। सुनकर नाम ने DMG ने एक पत्र प्रकाशित किया था जिसका शीर्षक था जानवरों पर शोध करने से मनुष्य में लाभान्वित होने के प्रमाण कहाँ हैं, और यह निष्कर्ष निकलता है कि जानवरों पर प्रयोग से मनुष्यों को पैदा होने वाले विचार के समर्थन में बेहद कम साक्ष्य एवं सबूत मौजूद है। वास्तव में मैं इतना ही कहना चाहूंगी कि स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में कई सारे महत्वपूर्ण उत्थान जैसे धूम्रपान, कैंसर, प्रमेह के बीच संबंधों की खोज, ये सारे काफी महत्वपूर्ण उत्थान इंसानों पर हुए अध्ययनों के चलते हुए हैं। अक्सर लोग कहते हैं कि अगर हम जानवरों पर उपयोग नहीं करेंगे तो हमें लोगों पर परीक्षण करना पड़ेगा। तो मैं बस इतना ही कहूंगी कि सबको प्यारी है अपनी जान, चाहे पशु हो या इंसान, सबको अपनी जान से रखना चाहिए। तो मैं यही कहूंगी कि ऐसा नहीं है कि ये आज की बात है, पहले से ही मनुष्य पर सर्वेक्षण करते आए हैं, क्योंकि जानवरों का शारीरिक विज्ञान हमारे शारीरिक विज्ञान से अलग है। तो कई बार कुछ दवाएं विफल भी साबित होती हैं। मैं अंत में अपनी बात को बस इतना ही कहूंगी कि जब तक इंसान की इंसानियत होती रहेगी तब तक कई निरीह पशुओं की प्रजातियां विलुप्त होती रहेंगी। और अक्सर जब हम वैज्ञानिक अनुसंधानों की बात करते हैं तो बस मैं इतना ही कहूंगी कि मत काटो इन्हें वैज्ञानिक प्रगति के नाम पर, नैतिकता को मान लो, इनमें भी चलती है सांसें, इनको भी सम्मान हो। Present, all present over here, please raise your hand who have vaccinated, COVID vaccinated till now. Please raise your hand. Almost all. Now please raise your hand if you are non-vegetarian. See the number. Good afternoon everyone, this is Tina, third year IMS student. Today I am standing here speaking strongly against the motion using animals in medical researches should be banned. Let me show you the heights of hypocrisy. The people who are shouting loudly that the animals, killing of animals is cruelty, is inhumane. They are the people who in the evening having chicken on their plates in the dinner. So this is the heights of hypocrisy. Now my fellow companions talked about the pain we are giving in the animals. Now we all are sitting comfortably and smiling also, some are smiling. We have, let me tell you guys, we have just killed thousands of bacteria under our clothes and under our feet. Do the bacteria, viruses and insects don't have lives? Also think about them if you are talking about the pain. We all